Good afternoon. Hope all is well. Hope everybody's family's doing well. Coming off a tough loss from this past weekend. Thought our guys played hard, but obviously we didn't play good enough. Our guys have done a heck of a job. They understand exactly what's the mission this week, and they're focused and locked in. So with that said, I'm all ears.
Coach, the 49ers are pretty banged up on defense, and as you go into a week like this, and you look at that injury report, how much of your planning is more for the scheme as opposed to specific personnel?
Well, here's one thing that I've always learned, Herbie. Okay. It doesn't make a difference who shows up on that injury report. All those guys seem to get healthy for the Chiefs. So we're still scheming the scheme, but on top of that, we're very much aware of who's playing and who's not playing. So when it's all said and done, we got to line up and play against the guys. But I'm expecting those guys that can play to come out there and compete their tails off. We know what they have, and we're looking forward to the matchup.
Coach, in your running game, have you gotten like the max amount of yards you think you could have gotten with the way some of the plays are blocked? Have you left yards out there on the table at this point this year?
Oh yeah, we've left a lot of yards. I mean, we've left a lot of rushing yards. We've left a lot of passing yards, but also too, let's give credit where credit is due. Buffalo did a hell of a job against us, against the run. They also did a good job of stopping our passes, our pass game as well. But it just goes back to going back to the basics, understanding that we have to perform at a high level regardless. We're going to get everybody's best shot. So we have to come out understanding that. And then our guys got to perform and make sure that we can maximize the opportunities being presented to us by running the football. Right now, we're just we didn't do a good job. I know we're capable of doing better, but we just got to continue to work at it.
On that front, how important is it to not get brought down by the first guy and only one guy? It seems like a few times there's been just one person brings the running back down and hasn't had to be a game tackle or anything like that.
Obviously, you always want guys that can get post-contact yards, but let's give credit where credit is due. Two of those big tackles that was made last week was by a kid who's a hell of a player. Kid Milano, he's a Pro Bowler. He does a hell of a job. He's a running hit guy. He made some big-time tackles in the open field. And so I'll go back to what I said earlier. They did a better job of executing than what we did. So we'll give them all the credit. It's our job as a coaching staff to make sure that our guys can go out there and execute and do the little things better by being stronger at the point of contact and doing all the little things necessary that can help us to be better.
Eric, you mentioned trying to give these backs equal opportunities. I guess, like, how much, as a former running backs coach, former running back, like, how much of a give and take is there between, like, making sure these guys are fresh and then being able to get into a rhythm, and how much of both things you have to sort of think about when you're choosing?
There's a lot that goes into it, and obviously there is just what you said. You want the guy who's basically in rhythm. If that guy has a hot hand, let's roll with him. But regardless, those guys know their role. They're all professional football players. When they step up to the plate, we expect them to perform at a high level. So their job is to go out there and perform and play, regardless of how many or how few reps that they're getting. We're expecting them to go out there and execute and give us the best opportunity to win.
Eric, can you explain the give and take you have to make, especially at this point in the season when you're starting to make adjustments, you're starting to scout your own abilities as a unit, where you have to say you want maybe 4 or 5 guys out in routes versus chip help or from the tight end or the running back? Just how much of that is being discussed right now, and what is that like for you when you have a decent amount of assembling of games to sort of go through?
That's always a discussion each and every week. Are we getting enough protection? Are we scatting enough guys out? Because you guys got to understand, we want to be an attacking offense. We want to make sure that we're staying on the attack and giving our guys the best opportunities to go out there and play and execute what we want them to execute. But on top of that, we also understand the importance of protecting the quarterback. So just like I just discussed earlier, everybody has a role and everybody has a job. Our job is to make sure we're putting our guys in the best position. But on top of that, we got some paid professional football players that we're expecting them to go out and do their job as well. Now, do we understand that sometimes those guys are faced with challenges? Yes, we do. But that's the nature of this game. you go out there to compete at a high level. You want your guys to be at their best and also performing at a high level, but also understanding that sometimes things happen. So how are we going to overcome it? We will overcome it by doing the things that we're doing this week, getting back on track, working on the little things, the fundamentals, to help us to go out there and be successful, and expecting our guys to come out with a little vinegar and a little whatever. You know what else I wanted to say? And come out and play with a little fire, just because of what happened and what took place this past weekend.
Eric, when you look at the screenplay to Burton that didn't quite work out, you can hear Patrick call an audible on that play. Is that becoming more frequent in the offense now?
And here's, you guys may hear a lot of things, and I know players are mic'd up. Pat does a great job of utilizing this cadence. Some things are real, some things are not real, and sometimes those things are to throw the defensive schemes off. We had a play design, and we just didn't execute it, you know. And obviously, you want your players to be at their best, you know, in those particular moments. But like I said, I'm not going to make any excuse. Our guys, we just didn't play well enough to win the game. Coach Les, Coach Sean McDermott, and them, they did a great job.
That was the original play then on that?
I'm not going to tell you that, Sam.
I have to believe that.
To that point, Pat seems to have a knack for the free play. Just what do you think has made him so good at that Rodgers-like ability of sometimes being able to throw it down?
You know, some guys just have that innate ability to look downfield and try and make a play. Because and we've talked about this before, he has that pilot vision eyes where he can see the entire field. Some guys don't have that, where they can basically see a flag being thrown from their left and also understand that I got receivers potentially open downfield because the defense have slacked off. So we're encouraging that. We want him to try and make a play whenever possible. But that's just who Pat is, you know.
Speaking of Pat, sometimes, he's talked about in the past, he wants to be more patient. You feel like that sometimes kind of can hurt him a little bit?
If anybody in here is a competitor, sometimes the hardest thing that you can do is learn how to be patient, you know. As coaches, we want to go out there and put 70 points on the scoreboard. We want to do whatever we can. But on top of that, we also need to understand that we have to be patient in making sure that we're doing the little things to help our guys to be at their best. So yes, is it a challenge every week for players to be patient? Yes, it is. But it's our job as a coaching staff to make sure that we're calming the storm, and on top of that, making sure that they're realizing, hey, you know what, we still got 60 minutes, or it's 30 minutes, or it's 15 minutes left in the game. We have a lot of football to play. We just need to take our shots when those shots are presented.
Last two, Nick and Matt.
Eric, with this rushing attack, do you feel like it's found its identity yet through the first six?
You know what? There is an identity. We're still looking for it. Obviously, we found it once upon a time. We got to re-identify who we are. But that's just everybody being on the same page and everybody doing their part. Listen, we got good football players. We got good guys up front. We just got to play better, you know. And on top of that, you guys got to understand, those defenses on the other side of the ball are pretty damn good. Now, that's no excuse. We still got to line up, put our hand in the dirt, and get after them. But I'm not going to make an excuse. Those guys play better than what we did.
Coach, every week in the NFL is hard, but for you guys specifically, after this week, you'll face three of the top 5 scoring defenses in the NFL, just the way it's worked out. How can that benefit you guys in the home stretch moving forward that you face so many good defenses already this season?
It helps. It helps with the maturing process. We got a lot of young players who are playing a lot of ball on both sides of the ball, and including special teams. So it gives those younger guys an opportunity to grow. You know, as a coaching staff, we're watching how our guys are handling these adverse situations that we're being put under. And I'll say this, you wouldn't want it any other way. You want your guys to have an opportunity to line up and play against the best each and every week, because that's the way that you discover what type of team, what type of character, and what type of group that you have going into the season. So I'm fired up. I wouldn't take it any different way. We want to line up and play against the best each and every week.
Okay, cool. Last one.
Thank you, guys.